We getting live. 2, 1.
Hi, this is Michael Butler, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
And sure, that's what's going on, man. Dynaman, what's going on, Dynaman?
I'm just chilling, man. Just recuperating from from the last night's action. So
Oh
it
man,
was
there
it
was a
was
lot.
pretty intense.
There was a lot going on, and one of the biggest things out there is the Charlo boys, man. Listen. I hope Fight Doctor jumps in because Fight Doctor's questioning: are they really the real deal? I mean, these performances here they put on, and you know, thing as well, it was pay-per-view. I ain't gonna lie
Right.
to you, bro. Just me personally, they gave money for value. They were entertaining. They're young. They hungry. They new blood in the divisions 154 and 160. They want to take over, and I think it's time for some new American young middleweights. Yeah, it's a long time since James Tony, Jermall Charlo, all them guys in America took over the division. That's like traditionally an American division. So
Right.
my question to you is that on their performance yesterday, are they the real deal?
Of course they are. I mean, Jamal, I thought he was always the real deal before the Derevyanchenko fight. So yeah, I think it's about time that all of us. I mean, they're critics, I should say. They all give them the respect that they deserve. All right, give them the credit for once in a lifetime. Now, it's particularly for the Derevyanchenko fight. There's guys out there who refuse to give them credit by saying, and you probably know who I'm talking about. I'm gonna name them because I don't like.
Bring their names
Yeah,
out. Drag them out.
yeah.
Drag them.
L Dog, for example, you know
Oh
him.
yeah. What's he saying?
Yeah, he said that he gave Derevyanchenko the fight 8 rounds of four, and many
What?
people came after him, and I was gonna go after him, like, well, wait a minute, wait, what fight were you watching?
Why were you
How the
watching?
hell did Derevyanchenko win that fight? You
Yo,
know?
he did get some rounds though. I think about two,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, I would. Yeah, that's part I'm not gonna argue. Derevyanchenko made the fight close at the end, where he just didn't do enough to win the fight. Let's be real. He didn't argue the decision. He knew he lost.
Yeah.
I mean, but the one thing I would argue though, those two scorecards that they gave to Charlo, one of them gave him the fight with 9 rounds of three, which is 117, 111, and then the other judge gave it 118 to 110. I thought those were way off. Now 8-4, 116 to 112, that's an acceptable score. I can accept that one, but not no 117, 111, and not in the 118, 110. I thought it was a much closer fight than that. But other than that, but despite the point, it's just that Derevyanchenko just, he just couldn't rally. He just came on late and he just didn't do enough. That's
No.
just plain and simple. He lost that fight. He lost it.
100%.
Yeah.
Listen, he put, and the thing is, people were talking about this dude. Oh, look, we did Triple G because how much they credit Triple G. So how much do you credit Charlo doing that? Doing that? Hey, listen, the Derevyanchenko is what he was, but Charlo is what he is. Charlo's a
Right.
bad guy. He's a bad man, boy. He's a bad man, bro. Like,
Oh
he
yeah.
will get, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up. I was going to
No,
add.
no, no.
Go
That
ahead.
was it. That was it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say though, you have to understand though, Derevyanchenko. The reason why people thought he was going to win this fight because he, on paper, had the better boxing ability than Charlo, but Charlo proved that everybody wrong last night. He proved to everybody that he can box too. That dude had to display something that I rarely see him do is box from the outside. And he did that against Derevyanchenko. Kept him at a distance and took away most of his his arsenal from the outside. Now a lot of people feel that Derevyanchenko is just a pressure come forward fighter. No, that's not true. He's a boxer. He could box from long range if he's allowed to do so. But the problem is Charlo wouldn't allow him to do that, and that's what forced him to come inside and forced Derevyanchenko to try to get underneath that left jab. And by the way, that left jab is very, very, very powerful and potent.
Oh yeah.
That Charlo does not get enough credit for. He's he's hurt Derevyanchenko numerous times with that jab in that fight. Rocked his head back. He's hurt him several times. And to me, right there, that's probably one of the most dangerous jabs in boxing other than Sergey Kovalev, which is, obviously he's at the end of his career. But other than that, that was his jabbing, his ability to keep the fight at a long range. The uppercuts are very lethal too, so you got to watch out for the Charlo uppercut from Jermall. His uppercuts are very lethal, and I mean, and like I said though, he just proved that he was a complete fighter last night. And I know a lot of people are going to say that, oh, he fought a guy that was coming off a loss against Gennady Golovkin on an 11-month layoff, this, that, and the third. I'm like, well, wait a minute, hold up, hold up. A lot of you guys argued that he beat Golovkin in that fight. Number one. Number two, a lot of people wanted him to go back in there and get another title shot right after that fight. Many people argue that he shouldn't have gotten a tune-up. So yeah, that's what happened. He went in and got another title shot right after the Golovkin fight, and he got beat far worse than Golovkin did on him. Which Golovkin, in my view, Golovkin didn't do enough to win that fight. And then Danny Jacobs. Charlo did a far better job with Derevyanchenko than those two guys.
Yeah.
But yet, some people are going to say, well, he don't deserve no credit because he fought him coming off a loss. I'm like, no, man, okay, whatever. I mean, if you want to go ahead and flip the script and say that, well, Derevyanchenko should have got back in there against Golovkin, but then again, when he gets his title shot at Charlo, that doesn't count. Charlo gets no credit for that. Okay.
100%. When we got the fight doctor questioning the Charlo brothers, are they the real deal? Bring in the fight doctor. Rick James status. Go ahead.
Fight doctor's in the house on Rick James status as always. What's going on, gentlemen?
Go ahead.
What's happening?
What's up, fight doctor? We good fight doctor. I guess.
Yes.
Go ahead, fight doctor. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. Fight that. I think you got the video playing in the background. You got to close that YouTube video.
Yeah. I think it's the echo in there. That's the echo in the background, I guess. Yeah, he gonna come on. We got PMC.
Yeah, no, I think it's just the shitty headphones. I need to get some good headphones.
All right, go ahead.
But yeah, Charlo the younger. I'm not convinced that the jury is still out as far as I'm concerned. You know, I had a chance to rewatch his fight with Rosario, and I saw him basically moving away from Rosario the whole fight. Rosario was actually the one who was trying to make the fight. And I thought they were pretty much fighting on just about even terms for most of the fight. I might have given a slight edge to Rosario had it not been for the two knockdowns. But I don't listen. I didn't see like the hellacious body attack coming from Charlo against Rosario. So where this one punch body, a jab to the body knockout comes from, I'm that's a bit suspicious in my view.
Oh shit!
I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you guys saw a different fight, but I just didn't see like a sustained hellacious body attack coming from Charlo. Now, I did see Rosario walking into left hooks, walking into Charlo and left hooks, but those left hooks were, chin, temple. I didn't see too many left hooks to the body. I just didn't see the sustained body attack where in the 8th round you get hit to the body by a jab and you go down like that. I didn't see it. So
you don't think
you guys
you don't think that was a dominant? You don't think that was a dominant performance
by who? Charlo?
Both of the brothers.
Dominant? I would say that the older Charlo looked better against Derevyanchenko than the younger Charlo did against Rosario. I mean, Rosario was the one coming forward. Rosario was the one making the fight. Charlo the younger for pretty much the whole fight was on his bicycle, moving away, holding, trying not to make a fight. And then all of a sudden he hits the guy in the body in the 8th round and he goes down. So I just don't. I'm sorry, but this is kind of smelling a little suspicious to me.
All right, let me put yourself on mute there, fight. Nice one. PMC, what's your take, my man? How you been, bro?
Yo, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud.
You have issues. Okay, all right, man. This is what's up.
Go ahead.
I didn't see the Jermall Charlo fight versus Derevyanchenko. That came on a little earlier. I didn't see that one. But I was just thinking in my mind that he was going to knock him out. So if anybody wants to knock his performance, I was expecting him to knock. I was like, he can knock this dude out. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But moving along, man, to the Jermell Charlo versus Rosario. As far as the knockout and everything like that, man, the color commentator said when he went against Julian J. Rock, man, that he had like a 16-week camp, I was thinking, like, man, that's a bit much. And then he did it again with this new trainer that he had. And I mean, just looking at that knockdown, I'm thinking like, shoot, maybe it's the 16 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that dude is drained because he don't look as he don't look as full. He don't look as hydrated as he did in his seen him fight Nathaniel Gilmore. You know what I'm saying? He looked a little bit more fit. And this time around, man, seeing him against Charlo, he just looked, maybe just a bit drained. And so, in saying that, man, in that first knockdown, dude just clipped him on the top of his head, and he went down. You know what I'm saying? He was unbalanced, and then he went down. And then, he get caught with those check left hooks. And what round was that? He went down there. It was like the 6th or the 7th or something like that. Yeah. So he goes down in that one, and in that Julian J. Rock fight, man, he was getting tagged really good in that Julian J. Rock fight. I don't think he went down in that fight. Julian J. Rock was landing some great combinations on him. You know what I'm saying? He was able to hang in there. But you can argue that Julian J. Rock maybe the smaller 154 fighter. But, the dude banged out a bigger guy in Jared Hurd. You know what I'm saying? He banged him out. You know what I'm saying? So I think he was just I think the training got to him, man. That's the only thing that could explain that punch and how he reacted. And then he was thin, man. You know what I'm saying? Look at his midsection, man. He was thin. He was in shape, man. You know what I'm saying? But 16 weeks, he's probably not a 154 fighter. You know what I'm saying? 16 weeks, that's a lot. That's a lot, man. You guys that talk about one in the 8-week, 10-week camp. 16 weeks, that's like 3 months. You know what I'm saying? It's like, who's running the trainer for 3 months? You drained by then, So, yeah, but I thought the performance was great, man. He used his legs. It's boxing, you know what I'm saying? You got to adapt. People, I was talking with Phil and Dan and Man. We were talking about, like, who's the better boxer. And I thought, Jermell Charlo was the better, boxer because he got a box, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have that one punch, knockout power. So, as far as everything he did, as far as setting everything up, sticking with a game plan and everything like that, he used his legs when he had to. And Rosario, he came with the high guard and everything. So, I mean, what else was he supposed to do? Sit there and bang it out with this dude? He had the legs. He was the older guy, and he used them, man. So he just set Rosario up. You know what I'm saying? With the check left. So that's all I got to say about it, man. I thought it was a great performance. You know what I'm saying? Dude was a champ. You get what I'm saying? So it wasn't like he was just beating some dude coming off a loss or nothing like that. Dude was a full-fledged champion, 154. I don't know how many belts. How many belts Rosario had? 1 or 2? You know what I'm saying? He had the IBF belt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He picked it up and he got the Ring Magazine belt. That's not on Jermell Charlo. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if anybody wanted to fight other dudes at 154, but he in a position to not have an excuse to not fight all the guys at 154. You get what I'm saying? He got what? 3 of the belts. He got the Ring Magazine belt. You know what I'm saying? Ain't unless you want to move up, he got to accept all challenges. You know what I'm saying? So
That's what he wants.
Yeah, that's what So that's it for me, man. You know what I'm saying? As long as he keep fighting, I mean, the divisions they say is deep. He keep fighting to keep winning, man. I ain't got nothing to say.
Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. My man my man Retro Boxing Documentaries in the chat. Shout out to him, yeah. Like, so he's saying he don't think it was worth. He thinks the card was garbage. Therefore, it wasn't worth $70. Now, I'm gonna tell you like this, yeah. I'm gonna tell you like this. Showtime are trying to build the Charlo brothers as the next biggest things in boxing. I think so. At some point, you need to invest in your young talent, and why not give him that platform? I'm over in the UK. I'm over in the UK and I watched them, and I heard about the Charlo brothers and I thought, oh, they ain't even all that. But when I watched both the performances, because I watched them in the morning, because I didn't, it's a bit late for me over in the UK. I was highly impressed with both the brothers' performances, and to me, they are on the verge of being one of the biggest things in boxing if they can get the guys in the ring, if they can get the Canelo Alvarez, if they can get the Triple G's in the ring. bruh, if they can get them on a card, the two brothers on the card with Triple G and Canelo Alvarez on a card, bro. Like, tell me, like that's where I think Showtime are going that way, and I think the dispute with Oscar De La Hoya, and Canelo Alvarez. I don't know if Canelo Alvarez is gonna get out of that contract. Hopefully, he can get to come over to Showtime and PVC. We can get that big fight happening. Triple G, he signed with the Zone. Man, hope I mean, the Zone's okay for boxing, but really and truly, we just need to have all the great fights. The two brothers want to fight the best. We want to see the best. I like you guys there. Are they the real deal? Are these brothers the real deal? Well, I can tell you right now, boy. Hey, we're gonna find out because they want to find out for themselves. They want to. The Derevyanchenko was built up to be the next guy who beat down Golovkin, and that's all I heard, man. It's all I heard for weeks. This Derevyanchenko, you know what I'm saying? He the dude. They want everyone. It was like Povetkin versus Wilder years ago. Oh man, want to see Wilder don't want to fight Povetkin. He ain't scared, so Wilder went to Russia. But look what he did to the kid, man. Look, he smashed the kid's face up. Yeah, he had some rounds, but he made that guy look like a rudimentary fighter. Nothing special about Derevyanchenko. Just comes forwards, throws a lot of punches. Yo, Charlo just showed mad skills of some of the fighters from back in the old days. Jab, putting on him. The question is, are they pay-per-view? Are they the real deal? That's the question we're asking. And you know what? The old school brothers, my man Retro, aka Blood Boxing, my man Fight, they ain't impressed. They ain't impressed. You know what I'm saying? They don't think. I mean, my man Fight was already saying, I don't think that body shot was real. I mean, question it might be, fake, or the referee, you know what I'm saying, some, he weren't legit. Well, I say Josh Taylor's fight in the UK, that body shot, that looked real fakers to me. But that was a good jab to the body, a good stiff one. And the other brother beat up Derevyanchenko, who's the guy. They said he's the guy, the Triple G killer, the next guy. You know what I'm saying? And he dealt with him. So I'm just like, yo, what's up now? So you know what I'm saying? I feel the building of a young American fight is great for the sport. The middleweight division is an American division, from all the way from Stanley Ketcher, all the way from Harry Greb, all the way down to James Toney, Roy Jones, Sugar Ray Robertson, and all the other greats before, man. You know what I'm saying? All the great. That is the American division of boxing, the middleweight division. And the Charlo brothers are coming to claim that the most casual fans know that the middleweight champion belongs to the Americans. So if they can get the European guys in, the Mexican fights in, we can win time with some great fights. Are they going to win? Are they going to win is the question against a Canelo. Are they good enough to beat a Canelo? Are they good enough to beat a Triple G? All them questions will be asked them more. Dan the man coming.
Well, point taken. I think you know what? I think as far as Charlo matching up against the other middleweights, as far as Golovkin, I think that's an easy fight. Well, not saying easy, but that's a far more winnable fight than fighting Canelo. Because and the reason why I say that is we all know Golovkin is pretty much at the end of his career, and not only that, he's known to be prone to be a sitting duck on target. He's a sit target. Golovkin is very vulnerable to uppercuts. He doesn't move his head very well. He has far less upper lateral movement, far less than Derevyanchenko, and he doesn't have the foot speed like Derevyanchenko. So that would be relatively easier fight, a taking for Charlo if that fight were to come off. Now we all know that Golovkin doesn't want that fight from the looks of it, from the eye test. He doesn't want that fight because he knows he's at the end of his career. He's looking for one last payday to cash out. Number one. Number two. Now the Canelo fight, I think that's a more of a tougher fight because Canelo's in his prime. He's a much more skilled fighter. Well, skill-wise, he's much skilled than Golovkin, and he has upper lateral movement. He can move his head. He's got a pretty good defense, and the only thing about Canelo is that he doesn't have the foot speed. So, but he makes up for that with his quick counters. So that's will make a much more dangerous fight for Charlo than the Golovkin fight. Not saying the Golovkin is not dangerous, but he's at the end of his career, and he's taking way too much punishment. That was well exhibited in his last fight with Derevyanchenko. So, yeah, I think Charlo's the Jermall is a real deal. We all know that. I mean, I think we need to stop doubting this guy. He can perform. He can come through on several occasions. So, as far as Jermell's concerned, I believe people are going to look at Jeison Rosario as a one-trick pony because he's coming off an upset win over J. Rock Williams. I get all that. But at the same time, Jeison Rosario is a tough cookie. Jermell had a tough time with him trying to figure out the range because he was long, he was taller, he was utilizing his distance, he had the longer reach, he was youthful, and he seemed to be stronger than Jermell in there. Obviously, that's why Jermell had to back off and try to figure out his distance. And whenever Jeison Rosario was throwing his combinations, Jermell was held on to him because he wanted to stop him from throwing his combinations. And of course, Rosario's corner was getting upset about that because, the referee there was like, wait a minute, you're warning us about the low blows. Well, I mean, why aren't you warning Charlo about the holding? But other than that, look, Jermell, I mean, he's a unified champion. He's the Ring Magazine champion. There's one belt left, and that's against Patrick Teixeira. He's signed with Golden Boy, so I'm not sure how realistic that fight can that fight can be made. But I will say this though: if Teixeira is supposed to be fighting Tim Tszyu, which is the fight that's been talked about right now, Tim Tszyu wins that fight, then I see the Charlo and Tim Tszyu fight being more realistic than the Teixeira fight. Now, if people are saying now, I had to mention the dude again. I mean, I mentioned him earlier. He thinks that Tim Tszyu could beat Jermell Charlo. I'm like, well, no, he's not ready for that fight. I don't give a damn how good Tim Tszyu looked against Jeff Horn. But the fact is that Jeff Horn is no freaking Jermell Charlo. Let's be real, okay? And second of all, Tim Tszyu is still a prospect in some ways. He still needs work. I mean, if he wants to get the Teixeira fight, cool. I'm not impressed with Patrick Teixeira. Yes, he's a good boxer, but I'm not impressed by him, to be honest with you. I made this a little bit long-winded, but again, I think, both of brothers are real deal fighters. They're both real deal. It's time we give them their credit. Now, as far as this being a pay-per-view fight, look, I agree with Blood on this one. I didn't think these cards were pay-per-view worthy, but the one thing I would slightly disagree with my brother Blood is that this was a good card. This was probably one of the best cards I've seen this year so far. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's one of the best cards. That's up for debate right now. So, but yeah, we got other great cards coming up later. So let's just see if those can outperform this one that took place last night. So, yeah, man. So, the Charlos definitely are, real deals in my book. I always said that Jermall was, but Jermell, yeah, I always gave him props, but sometimes he was just a bit, inconsistent. You know what I mean? Hot-headed, always losing poise and composure when he couldn't get things in his way in fights. So yeah, that's my take on it.
All right, man. Bring in my man Retro Boxing and Documentaries, aka Blood Boxing. How you doing, bro?
Hey, man, how you doing, my brother? Can you hear me pretty good?
Hear you excellent, man. Hear you fine, man. Man, I haven't talked to you for a while, so it's great to have you over. I'm sure everyone wants to say hello to you in their own place at some point. So, you know what I mean? Like, listen, man, you've been covering boxing for many a year. You know what I mean? You've seen a lot of guys come through. Now, the brothers are coming through now. Now, they making noise. They're making waves. But I want to, and this is why, I mean, Fight Doctor was the one who brought this up in the group. So this is why I'm making a video. What do you think of them? And do you think they worthy your pay-per-view? Do you think they're the real deal? What's your take, my man? Go ahead.
Okay, as far as them being the real deal, I do believe that these brothers are the real deal. Both of them performed well. I think they did what they had to do considering the opponent they had in front of them. Both of them could do a little bit of everything. They could fight off their back foot. The older brother, to me, I think he still needs to work on his inside game a little bit. He was getting touched a little bit by Derevyanchenko on the inside, but he's so strong. He's so big and strong, man. I think he's going to end up being in the super middleweight division. But he could do some everything. But the fights that he needs, or they mentioned it last night, it's either the Andre fight or the Canelo fight. There should be no other fights out there for him. If they take the Golovkin fight, that's fine. I'm not going to be too impressed by anybody fighting Golovkin when Golovkin is 40 years old. As for Jermell Charlo, he was he got on his back foot at times, but the difference with him and guys like J-Rock is that he hits with a lot of power. I mean, look at this guy. This guy, his last three opponents did weird shit when they were hit. You know what I'm saying? Lubin was acting crazy. That Mexican guy, forgot his name. He acted crazy when he got knocked out. He was on the ground acting crazy. And now this other guy, he just got hit in the sweet spot. We all been hit in that spot before where the wind gets knocked out of you and you just can't breathe. You know, it's happened to all of us before. If you're a man who's been in any kind of physical activity, everybody's been hit in that spot, the sweet spot where you lose your ear. You know, you don't have to be hit very hard there. If your muscles are not tightened up to take that shot when you know it's coming, usually it's a reaction for us to tighten up our muscles as the punches come to our stomach, right? So he just got hit at the right time. You know, he didn't tighten up in his stomach area. He got hit with a good shot. It knocked the wind out of his ass. He thought he was damn near dead. He just got hit in a really good spot, man. So, you know, people could criticize Charlo, but he does what he has to do to get rid of these opponents. And what's that, like 5 or 6 defenses now? So he's doing a great job in that. Now, what I do have a problem with was this is the chance for PBC to feature these guys on TV so they'll be more known. I can't wait to see what the pay-per-view numbers are, because I don't think the pay-per-view numbers are going to be great, okay? Because nobody really knows who these motherfuckers are. They don't know them. And then on top of that, they put together a $70 card. Thank you. Salute to Strikeout Boxing, because I went to Strikeout Box everything on a big screen. You know, I'm sitting there, 52-inch TV. I'm looking at it for free. Who's going to pay $70 for some long-ass intermission? You don't put on long intermissions when customers are paying, okay? You find some heavyweights or something, and you fill in those spots. And all these little guys right here, listen, I know some of you guys know who these little guys are. What we did is after that first Charlo fought, we up here waiting for the next Charlo to come out. They put on a long-ass intermission. Then they put on some more little guys. So we went out and got food and shit like that. Man, I'm not going to sit there and watch those little guys fight. And when I got back, you know, I looked at a little bit of the 2 little midgets that were fighting right before it. You know, I saw some boxing skills, but nothing I've never seen before. I want to see the best fight the best. It's not a $70 pay-per-view. They're doing boxing bad by putting this shit on pay-per-view when they could be featuring these Charlos on TV so people could learn who they are. Then that fight with Canelo could be a real good pay-per-view event. But they got to know who the Charlos are. Shit, they got to know who Canelo is. But, you know, the politics in boxing always comes into play, and they're real faulty. And PBC, I think, did no justice for them Charlo brothers by putting them on pay-per-view. I guarantee you too many people didn't see that fight. I can't wait till the numbers come out. I don't expect high numbers. But other than that, good fighters. We need to see some unification. The other Jermell Charlo, he needs to fight that guy with Golden Boy, that Patrick, I can't think of his name. But that needs to be the next fight. There is no excuses as to why we can't have that. And then we got an undisputed champion, a real champion. So he's very close to becoming undisputed. And that means a lot to us. I think he needs to stay at 154 too. Don't put on all that muscle like your older brother, because the older Charlo, he's a little bit slow on the trigger on the inside. Just watch him on the inside. And that's where Canelo is going to tear his ass up, because Canelo has that very great upper body movement. He don't have great legs, Canelo. He don't have the best legs, but it's not like Jermall Charlo has these great, he doesn't have great footwork. He has decent footwork. He can box off the back foot. But when Canelo gets on the inside, Canelo's going to slip a lot of those uppercuts and stuff that he was hitting Derevyanchenko with. Canelo's going to be able to catch those punches, counter effectively. And at this time, I would favor Canelo to beat Jermall Charlo. Now, Demetrius Andre, we ain't never seen him do nothing, but his name came up too last night, okay? So there's no excuse for unification, and they need to go back to TV, because these guys are not pay-per-view stars at this time, all right? That's pretty much all I have to say about it.
All right, so boy, that's hey, listen, man, you give me the lowdown on some stuff I didn't even know about, because I just caught the fights at the the next day. I didn't pay pay-per-view, but that I didn't even know that intermission. I didn't know that $70. So I'm getting new. So Fight Doctor, come in. Fight Doctor, call in the Fight Doctor.
Yeah, I agree with Blood Boxing. That was not a pay-per-view card last night. And so through my provider, it was $75, which is ridiculous, because at the end of the day, nobody knows who the Charlos are. And nobody certainly knew who their opponents are. So, I mean, I'll be surprised if this pay-per-view does over 100,000 pay-per-view buys. I'll be surprised.
Me
now,
too.
me as a hardcore fan, I'm a hardcore fan. And it's like, summertime is over, and you want to get in the last, get together or whatever, before, I'm in the Midwest, so it's about to be snow on the ground in a minute. It's about to be hella cold, So I think that was pretty much the primary reason why I bought the pay-per-view in the first place, because I was tempted to stream it, but I turned it into backyard barbecue, friends over, we hung out and and watched the fight. And that was pretty much the reason why I bought it. Because $75 to watch. No, that was a Showtime card. That's what that was. Damn sure wasn't a pay-per-view, and hopefully, well, listen, it's good when boxing gets attention, and I would hope that this was a successful pay-per-view. But unfortunately, the realist in me is saying no, that's not the case. And I think PBC needs to re-examine their business model. And if you're going to make a pay-per-view card, then it needs to be, they have to be fighting somebody. And now that's not to say that Derevyanchenko and Rosario were not worthy challengers, because they were. Or in Rosario's case, he's a champion. So they were competitive fights. They were good fights, but they weren't pay-per-view fights, because the casual fan just doesn't care. Now, I care because I'm a hardcore, boxing fan. I care. But the casual fan doesn't give a shit about Rosario, Derevyanchenko, or Charlo, to be completely honest. So I just don't understand, what's the strategy here? I mean, because this pay-per-view is bound to fail. So if the pay-per-view fails, and I think that it will, then that's a fail for boxing, so it's not good for the sport. So I just don't understand, what's the logic here. But, smarter people with more money than me apparently think otherwise. Smarter people who have more money than I have apparently think that was a pay-per-view fight card last night, so we'll see. I guess they're trying to create, make the Charlo twins into a pay-per-view attraction, and we'll see. But, I'm thinking that unless the Charlos have dance partners with a name, we won't see them on pay-per-view again. And if we do, unless they have dance partners with a name, I will not be buying. Damn sure off the main event last night, I'm damn sure not buying, because, I'm not going to pay $75 to watch Charlo dance away from a guy and then tap him to the body in the 8th round, and the guy goes down as if he's having a convulsions. As if the guy's having, I don't get it. I mean, I want to say it was fixed. I'm not going to say it was fixed, but it damn sure looked that way.
Wait, hold on.
A lot of people saying that, though. A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, hey, hold on real quickly, Blood. Let me just say this. I'm getting feedback, but it's okay. I'll talk to it the best way I can. But let me just say this. If the fight was fixed, Fight Doctor, don't you think that Rosario would have just gone down after the first round if he suffered that first class knockdown? Because to me, as everybody's seen it, he was trying to win that fight. In fact, after the first knockdown, you can argue he was winning the fight before he got clipped the second time with the punching left hook. Maybe he could have just thrown the fight then. I mean, to me, I'm not saying that soul plus punch was not suspect. Yeah, I'll admit to you that I've never seen anybody get knocked out by a jab to the body, a stiff jab to the body. Never seen it. But what I will say this, though, maybe when he got hit there, something in his body may have ruptured, which caused him to react the way he did. That's possible. So, okay, we can't rule that out. Now, I'm not going to go. The bottom line is saying is that I just don't think the fight was fixed, man. Especially the way Rosario was fighting. He was fighting to win that fight. I just don't see how that was fixed.
Listen,
usually third worlders don't. They're not ones who are going to give up or lay down in the fight. They're coming to win the fight, because a lot of those third world type guys, man, they grew up hard. They grew up different than the spoiled people over here in America. And they want to come out here and they want to give their best performance. And it really means a whole lot to them on what people think. So I think that the kid was coming forward. He was trying to win the fight the best he could, and he just got hit. I think that he wasn't tensed up when he got hit, because It's a reaction thing that fighters tense up when you go to the body. He just got hit at the right time, man, in the right spot. It's kind of like when you remember when Hopkins hit De La Hoya. I mean, yeah, I understand when Hopkins hit De La Hoya, you could see that punch a lot more landing, a lot more cleanly than the jab to the body. It did seem a little bit much, but in my opinion, a lot of these fighters are overrated. Like most people will say, well, Rosario, he had a belt, he was a champ and this and that. But like I said before, there could only be one champion. So I don't listen to that kind of stuff. If someone says that, oh, well, that's another champion that he lost to, being a champion don't mean nothing because I've exposed it several times. They don't have a real ranking system. So if you don't have a legit ranking system, then you can't have a champion because all of that stuff is basically bought for and paid for. You pay yourself in the spots through your promoters and stuff like that. You get a shot. And most of these guys are untested. They're unproven. So we didn't know for sure if Rosario was no legendary fighter or anything like that because he's coming from somewhere else. He just kind of came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And, maybe he just couldn't take that shot. He just got caught with a good shot. I think he was overrated anyways. I think that Hurd is overrated. I thought that J-Rock was overrated. I thought that Tony Harrison is overrated. And you know why they're overrated? Because people listen to dummies on the internet. All these dumb clowns who are running around acting like they know boxing, don't know nothing about boxing, trying to work towards their social media and all that. They don't like me talking like that. They can't stand it. But this is the way I feel. I'm not on here trying to knock nobody's hustle. You don't see no videos coming from me, but I don't have no respect for the boxing media and boxing YouTube pages. And I shit all over them. I don't like them. They never taught boxing. They can't talk about style or nothing like that. They gave J-Rock and Harrison too much credit as these superior boxers when boxers today, they don't even fight. They don't even train no more. All right. They talk about the fighters from yesterday being cab drivers and stuff when these guys were in the gym all fucking day. All of those guys, Rosario, J-Rock, they give them their little names too, the little fanboy names like J-Rock and oh, J-Rock, he's so cool. J-Rock can't fight worth a shit. He ain't all that. He ain't. And back in the day, that guy would have never seen no kind of belt if he was fighting in the 90s or anything before then. Okay, there's just a lot of belts out there now, so anybody could be a champion. So a lot of these fighters are overrated. That's the problem. And now look who's in line to fight Charlo again. Erickson Lubin. He's from Florida. I like Erickson Lubin, but I saw him fight the other day and the shit, he didn't look like he improved much at all. You know what I'm saying? So these fighters, in my opinion, are overrated, bro.
Anyone else? Anyone goes?
Hey, you know what, man? Hey, Blood's got to speak. Speak his mind. He speaks his mind. That's why I respect him a lot, man. But I will say this though. As far as going back to the pay-per-view argument here, now, are these guys pay-per-view fighters as of yesterday? No, they're not. I'm just keeping it real. I just think these are not pay-per-view worthy fights, but they were very good fights. All right, now the question is, who should Jermall fight next? Because that's what I'm more interested in than the Jermell, and obviously, because I like Jermall, I respect him. Now, should he fight Demetrius Andrade? Now, should he fight Demetrius Andrade? Is that a pay-per-view worthy fight if they were to fight for unification bout? I'm just asking the question.
In my opinion, yes. I mean, Andrade has a name. He has a belt. Yeah. That's a pay-per-view worthy fight. Look, that's a significant fight. What we saw last night from Jermall Charlo, I don't want to say it was insignificant, but what does it really mean?
Yeah, I mean, Fight Doctor. Well, let me counter that argument too. Now, I'm not saying this is what I would say, but this is something somebody would say to you. Well, if you're going to say that, then how can you say that Derevyanchenko wasn't a pay-per-view worthy fight? Because Derevyanchenko was a guy who arguably beat Golovkin, who could argue that he beat Danny Jacobs. So why is he not pay-per-view worthy as opposed to Demetrius Andrade? Demetrius Andrade hasn't fought anyone on that level that Derevyanchenko had.
Well,
it's not a pay-per-view worthy fight because no one knows Demetrius Andrade other than us in the boxing circles. See, sometimes we have to remember, like if you went outside your house right now and you asked 30 people, hey, you going to watch the Demetrius Andrade fight? I guarantee you, I'll be surprised if any of the first 30 people, I don't care what state you're in, I doubt very seriously they're going to know who you're talking about.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm asking Fight Doctor because Fight Doctor said that the Demetrius Andre fight was pay-per-view worthy. So I'm just saying though, if that's a worthy fight because he has a belt, then why isn't Derevyanchenko? Derevyanchenko fought better opposition than Andre.
And I'm agreeing with you. He's fought better opposition, but again, losses count. And on paper, he lost to Golovkin. Now, I know we can have the discussion about who you think actually won the fight. And, I certainly am in the camp of those who think there's an argument for Derevyanchenko having won that fight, no question. But I mean, at the end of the day, we have to go what's on paper. And on paper, every time he stepped up, he's lost. He lost the fight to Golovkin on paper. He lost the Jacobs fight. So, against that backdrop, you have to ask the question: why was this fight important? I think. Now, the argument I would make in favor of the fight is that I think you could say, all right, well, this is a credible opponent for Charlo. Maybe arguably his most credible opponent, even though he's coming off the losses, but he had a good showing in the Jacobs fight. He arguably won the Golovkin fight. And I think that makes him credible, yes. But in terms of its significance outside of the credibility question, this fight wasn't significant. It didn't mean anything. Okay, so you beat Derevyanchenko. What does this do for you? Nothing other than a payday and maybe answer some questions. But in terms of your status as a middleweight, what does that do for you, Jermall Charlo? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything.
I was just saying, but a lot of people, there's a good significant people believe that Charlo was going to lose this fight based off the eye test and based off who Derevyanchenko is and who he fought and based off his skills and his pedigree. They thought Charlo was going to lose. So, I mean, and Charlo beat the boxer. Let's be real. People thought that Derevyanchenko was a better boxer than Charlo, which I thought, and he outboxed the guy and beat him convincingly. So why doesn't Charlo deserve no credit for that?
No, I listen. He does deserve. Charlo deserves credit for beating Derevyanchenko because, again, in my opinion, Derevyanchenko is a credible opponent, and I think it answered some questions in terms of we now know that Jermall Charlo is a threat to the other premier middleweights. So if there's any question beforehand about how he will perform against the top tier middleweights, well, we saw last night exactly what would happen, okay, against a premier middleweight, in Derevyanchenko. And I would consider him a premier middleweight despite the losses because, again, he showed his class in losing to the best in the division. So yeah, I think Charlo deserves credit. He certainly now the younger Charlo, on the other hand, I don't think he deserves any credit off of this win because that was suspicious. And I don't want to call it a fixed fight, but it has, it smells like it just smells bad. It just smells bad. Yeah. So, and as far as the pay-per-view question is concerned, yeah, I think the Andre fight is. Coming from the perspective of a fight fan. Now, I agree with I think it was Blood who said that Andre isn't known by the casual fan, and I agree, he's not. And I would be curious to see how well would a pay-per-view between him and Charlo, how many, would it sell? Maybe it would, maybe it would. I don't know. But
let me bring in. Yeah, if I don't give you, let me bring my man Smoke, GT Smoke, man. Let me hear his take, man. What's up, Smoke? How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's up, EJ? What's up, guys on the panel? How you guys doing today?
Yeah, man. Hey, shout out to Losty Punch TV. What's up? Yeah. Hey, shout out, man. Hey, nice on Smoke, man. Shout out to Losty D Punch TV in the chat, my man Chris Titan. Hey, Blood, man. Sorry to hear about your brother, man. I didn't know your brother passed away, man. So
my grandmother has passed away in England yesterday in London. She was in her 90s, and we knew it was coming. My family's big over there, and everybody went to go see her, and everybody's been going to see her since she's been sick. So most of my family got to go over there. She died with a lot of people around her. There was some restrictions over at the home, though, because of the COVID and stuff. But they put her in a place so people could come and see her, and pretty much everyone went and seen her. It's unfortunate because I left England in 1990. She's been over here to America a couple of times, so I did get to see her the last time in 2003. And she loved boxing too. She used to watch boxing and wrestling with me. She liked the British wrestling with Big Daddy and all of them, and then she watched the American wrestling when that came over to England. And my family, of course, you know, I'm from Jamaican background, man. My grandmother's Jamaican. Well, she was Jamaican, and I'm trying to get over there to England. I'm gonna fly over. There's a bunch of different stuff going on with this COVID stuff, but I think that right now that I can fly in. And when I do come over, I'm gonna be around for a couple of months because right now I'm not working. So it'll give me a chance to go and be with my family over there because I got tons of family I don't even know because I left so long ago. But I'd like to stay in England for 2 or 3 months. So I'll let you know, EJ, man. If I do come that way, I plan on meeting with all of y'all.
Oh, that'd be cool, man. That's what's up, man. That's what's up for real. Yeah, man. Boy, so you know, like obviously, you know, us as a YouTube family, all condolences go out to obviously your grandma and yourself and that, man, and like sharing that, you know what I'm saying? My man, Smoke. Yeah, man. No
Yeah,
worries.
what's up, man?
Yeah, so yeah, give us your take on what you've heard. The Charlo brothers pay-per-view is in question. The body punch is in question. What's your take on the whole thing on the Charlo brothers? Are they the real deal? What's your take?
The real deal. Depends on what you mean by real deal. I thought, well, you know, we live in the times we're in, right? This is the pandemic era, and I think this is one of the best weekends for sports in general. You know, and definitely boxing specifically, since the whole COVID thing happened. I was very impressed with it was a little bit weird that they had such good fights so early, and it was a lot of fights. But I really enjoyed the card. I thought it was a great value for money. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the entire weekend, not just the PBC cards, but all of the, you know, the Yokas, the Julio Cesar Chavez's, the Josh Taylors. It was just a really good fight weekend. But it was definitely culminated with the PBC and the Charlos stole the show. I thought both fights were real excellent fights. As far as the Derevyanchenko Charlo goes, yeah, it was more about legitimacy. I feel like the process is the issue with Charlo at 160. The way he became champ. It's the same thing with Andrade. And pardon me if I go over some stuff that you guys already covered because I just got to it late, right? But yeah, Andrade. To me, both Andrade and Charlo were paper champs. And so I wanted to see them fight legitimate guys before I saw them unify. So the unification would mean something. Like I didn't want to have a unification between two paper champs to make a unified paper champ. I don't even know how you're supposed to evaluate them at that point. I mean, maybe if you just throw all the belts out the window and just say who's the best guys, you know, the top 10 at 160, who you think that is, then yeah, it would show some clarity in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't that big on the unification. I wanted to see the Andrades. I wanted to see the Derevyanchenkos and the Chris Eubanks and the Billy Joe Saunders when he was there. I wanted to see them up against those guys before I could assess, like, you know, who's really a champ. Who, and I felt like last night went a long way in solving that. I don't think it was close. I think you can maybe give 3 rounds. I mean, you could definitely give 3 rounds to Derevyanchenko, or maybe definitely 2 rounds. But for me, I gave him 3, and there was 3 swing rounds. But there's no way that I could give Derevyanchenko 7 rounds in that fight. I just don't see it, right? So I feel like
spoke real quickly though. But you're one of your boys. I'm sorry to say that. I'm not sure if he's your boy or not. L Dog gave that fight to Derevyanchenko 8 rounds before.
But that guy is notoriously supportive of Eastern European fighters, right? To hear him tell it, all Eastern Europeans come to America to get robbed and not get paid. So like that's his L Dog and him being a super fan for the Eastern Europeans, and whatever. Yeah, that's neither here nor there. And L Dog is fine. Like I don't know about being my boy, but I don't have a problem with L Dog. I find him mildly
I don't have a problem with him too. But for him to go out and say
I find him mildly entertaining when he's not being like kind of annoying. But sometimes he's just trolling, right?
Yeah, he's probably trolling on it. But I'm surprised that he's only one, maybe 2 people who felt Derevyanchenko won that fight. And I'm like, okay, what fight was he watching?
Yeah, but I feel like most people are saying he got robbed of a draw. Like if you can get robbed of a draw, like whatever.
Yo, that's PP's cousin, though. You know that's PP's little cousin, bro.
Oh,
Precisely cousin.
Oh,
Yeah.
that bitch. Oh, don't mention that bitch, EJ. Nah, man, I can't stand that dude.
No, but him. I'm not surprised because he's from New Zealand and he's over there trying to pump on European fighters. He's the one who said Hagler's record is overrated. So when I hear anything from L Dog, I'm like, yo, that dude's just a hater, prime hater.
Yeah. He came on the scene talking about how his resume was better than Hagler, but that was just to, to bolster and to support his own Eastern European thing. He's not really serious about it. Like once you talk to him about boxing, he actually does know boxing, but sometimes he's just trolling for his European guys.
I put him on my hate. Listen, people don't make the hate report unless you dead serious. That guy was dead serious. I had to tan him. He said Triple G's record is better than Hagler. He had to get that work. I know. So what I'm telling you now, he really believes it. I know he's not here to defend himself, but if you're listening,
no, he don't believe that. Like he actually doesn't even want to talk about it anymore.
Bro,
he is not. He don't believe that. I promise you, EJ, he was not going to argue that point anymore.
Yeah, because y'all got him right. Because when he was doing with you, right, like he didn't know I was listening. I jumped on and I gave him a good pepping. So the fact he's saying about Derevyanchenko, that just shows what fight he's watching. But the question isn't really about that. It's about the Charlo brothers and where they're going. Are they on a Mayweather thing where they're just fighting like the guys with the most following to make the most money, or they want to fight the best? And their pay-per-view things right now, some people like obviously the Blood and Fight Doctor, they're not impressed, bro. But I'm gonna put it to you like this, and the rest of the panel, Eddie Hearn doing that over in the UK. He be making, I know it's not that much, it's $25 whatever over here, but Eddie Hearn be putting on enough cards over here in the UK, and they ain't worth ish, bro. I felt personally just watching the Charlos. I didn't watch the rest of the card, right? But the main event and the card actually built better than some of the cards in the UK that we have to pay for pay-per-view over here. Because it's not just we pay $25, we have to pay for the Sky itself, and that's on top of the pay-per-view as well. So altogether, it probably comes up to about $60. You know what I'm trying to say? $60-$70 itself. So I'll be honest with you, why not put money in the Charlos? Right over Eddie Hearn's doing it over here. Making Katie Taylor a pay-per-view, Dillian White, you could be Dillian White pay-per-view. Who else over there? Kell Brook. You know what I'm trying to say?
Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell on pay-per-view.
Right. So
I'm just saying. I know we're complaining in America, but they look at over the UK and everyone's getting paid. And look, the Charlo brothers, are they pay-per-view worthy in the fights? If you paid your money and you have a right to critique. If you paid your money or you didn't pay, you have a right to critique that. But going forward, I feel that they've set the standard, and they asked them in the interview room, well, going forward, how can you match that? How can you top what you're doing? And that's the thing they're gonna have to look forward to, because the paying public, they want better opposition, and they demand it. The people demand it. So
hey, EJ, real quickly. Hold on, smoke real quickly. But before you came in, there is a fight that Charlo just came to mind. Jermall. There was a proposed fight. Now they're talking about, there's a rumor floating around that him versus Chris Eubank Jr. may be the next fight. What do you guys think of that one?
Who?
Jermall
Chris
Charlo.
Jr. and who?
Jermall Charlo.
I mean, I was fine with that. I was fine with it because they were supposed to do that before the Derevyanchenko fight, right? But they've turned out to be Derevyanchenko. But at this point, I'd rather see Chris Eubank fight Andrade. Like I don't really care about. I'm not really checking for Chris Eubank like that. I just needed for Charlo to legitimize his 160 thing. I think Derevyanchenko did that quite nicely. And if Andrade could do it, fine. When it comes to the pay-per-view of it all, like, if you have been watching boxing for a while and following the whole, the trajectory of pay-per-view, or, the history of pay-per-view, then this is like kind of an iffy one. Historically speaking, just because the guys that they're fighting don't have a huge following, they don't bring a lot, they haven't done a lot in the sport. They have some significant moments, but they just haven't achieved greatness, not like on a pay-per-view as the American, that we've got used to in the past. But we are living, like I said, this is a pandemic time. And for me, this has been the best boxing and the best card in months. Like actually, since the beginning of the year. And I wasn't mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. I feel like it is just it's a moment in time, and it definitely stands up to. I didn't have to pay for Povetkin. I see what you're saying about Povetkin, AJ's. I mean Povetkin Whites, those kind of things. And that was a pretty good fight, but I couldn't imagine it being pay-per-view. I wouldn't want to spend it. I don't know about Leo and Tank. I would, I may stream that fight, but last night I was fine with it. As far as the Charlo, as far as me being suspect about that shot, I don't think it was shot. I don't think it was a fix or nothing like that. I think dude was hurt. He got caught with something that he didn't see and didn't suspect while being hurt and got the air knocked out of him.
Okay, PMC, Fight Doctor, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I got something to say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so anyway, the whole thing about the pay-per-view thing, man, I mean, they got to start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they got to test the waters. I mean, a lot of people, are out of work, but not much is going on. You know what I'm saying? Football, the ratings are down. NBA, the ratings are down. They got a base in, in Houston. The fan favorites in Houston. We got Earl Spence out there, doing his thing up in Texas or whatever. So I mean, we got to see what the numbers turn out to be. You get what I'm saying? Now you got to think about Derevyanchenko. He got a bigger profile than Boo Boo. Andretti. Andretti's been on that app. That what was that? Days in the Zone. He been on that Zone app for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And then he had a 2-year hiatus with the contract and everything with PVC and Rock Sports, or whatever you want to call it, Rockefeller Sports or whatever.
Rock Nation.
Yeah, Rock Nation. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's stale, man. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he's like that fine piece of cheese you're probably thinking about eating at a special occasion, but but by the time you get to it or something like that, it's expired, man. He's like, he's pretty much he's stale, man. You know what I'm saying? He's stale right now. Yeah, you can probably still eat it, but he's stale, So I don't think he is pay per view if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? He's not pay per view. He ain't done nothing pay per view. So his career is stagnant. It's gonna stay that way, man, because of him, and his personality, man. And then he probably don't want to be the best for all we know, So anyway, as far as the pay per view is concerned, last point on this is that you got to think about if they targeting Canelo, you know what I'm saying? They got to come up with something to say they worthy when they step up to the plate, man. These guys are like 30 years old, so they 30, Canelo younger than them, and he in his prime, and he younger than him. He's high profile. He ain't going away. It is pay per view for him. So when they go to the table, they talking numbers. It was like, what are they gonna say? Like, oh, we never done a pay per view, or we ain't never been on pay per view. They got to come with something. So why not? Why not now? And then a lot of the times the whole pay per view thing, from what the networks are saying, is the fighters want more money. So you got to test the marketplace. So you know what I'm saying. So the pay per view is the marketplace to go to make it accessible to where people gonna buy it as if they buying a ticket to go to see them. You get what I'm saying? So so it's like a virtual live gate, the pay per view. You know what I'm saying? It's a test for a live gate to get more money outside of the advertising and shit like that. So I mean, it's on them. That's what they wanted, man. They wanted pay per view. Whether they want more money for Showtime or whatnot, they getting their feet wet. They testing. They trying to see where their value is. And that's how they have to do it, man. Same thing with Earl Spence. I mean, that's how he, how did he become a pay per view star? I mean, even though he got, the support for being on the NBC networks and doing the Olympics and stuff like that, and he was on free TV during that time. PBC was just getting started and stuff like that. So he was able to build up more, fan base and everything like that. But he's got to start. They got to start somewhere, man. So I think if they're going for Canelo, man, you might as well just go and get on pay per view to see where you at as far as the numbers and stuff like that. Because if you gunning for Canelo and you gonna, let's just say you trying to get that big payday, you 30 years old, you trying to get that payday. He is the payday. He fights at 150. What was he, like a light heavyweight now?
Yeah,
Uh,
154.
yeah, I mean he can go to 154. He fought a light heavyweight, so you saying let's say the fighters he fighting like what 160, 154
Mm-hmm.
fighters. Maybe ask him to. So he fighting that Canelo weight. Let's just say it's Canelo weight because it's whatever weight he fight at. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The guys are going to fight or whatever. So it's Canelo weight. They're going to fight at Canelo weight. You know what I'm saying? Like guys were doing with Pacquiao because he got that money. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to eat at the end of the day. So,
Go ahead.
So at the end of the day, man, I just think it's good that they go ahead and just see where they stand, man. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you this, right? Thanks, PMC. I can tell you this right now. The age of the catchweight middleweight is over. We have Americans who actually fight at the weight, want to fight the best at the weight, and I'm happy a new, young, fresh air respect in the middleweight division. Ever since Miguel Cotto, Canelo, who else is there in there? What's his name again? No, I don't think Sergio Martinez. I think he was okay, but certain guys, they came into the
no, go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
No, they came into the division who were not very big middleweights and made guys fight at certain weights. Well, not Sergio Martinez, so I'll take him out. But Huda says Chavez maybe a certain point. I'm not too sure. I think he fought at middleweight, but then he couldn't make the middleweight. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of disrespect to the middleweight. But these guys are doing it traditional. And the question is, are they there? What PMC said was right on point, which I always said if you give them a pay-per-view now, if they bring the negotiate table, well, I'm pay-per-view, these are my numbers. So I got something to bring to the table so we can make this mega fight. Showtime and the Zone needs to work together to get things cracking. I mean, let's do what's best for boxing. You know what I mean? We don't know how long this Corona thing is gonna go on for. And now, if the Zone and the PBC and Showtime want to get together and make a pay-per-view. Now, is it gonna, in this era, is it gonna draw that much money between Triple G and thing or Canelo and the Charlo brothers? Yeah, it might just do that, bro. It might just do that. You know what I'm trying to say? These dudes are trying to make names. Another thing as well, you have to highlight two twin brothers. I don't think in the history of boxing, two twin brothers, black brothers at time of being so successful to have middleweight to be champions at the same time. I'm hard pressed to trying to think of two black brothers or middle champions at the same time. So what they're doing is historical. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think a lot of time we hard pressed to critique, and we have a right to critique if you're spending your dollars, especially in this time. But I think there's a lot of positives to come out of this, and especially you need some young champions in the wake of what's been happening in recent times. So on that step, I really appreciate the Charlo brothers. I had people hitting me up, casuals hitting me up about the Charlo brothers. So who that win coming from?
I really appreciate what the guys are doing. Like I see that there's a lot of deficiencies. At this point, I think that they're stronger more than they are skilled. But they're still young, they're still developing. I think that they're both getting better for fight after fight. If the big fights happen, I got Big Charlo beating Triple G, and I think that'd be an excellent fight for him. I don't know if he can get that fight, but I still got Canelo beating Charlo pretty convincingly if that happens. I don't think anybody can beat Charlo at 154.
Fight Doctor, we heard from you for a bit. Go ahead, Fight Doctor.
I don't know. I'm not convinced that Canelo would actually beat Charlo. I think it would be fair to make Canelo the favorite, but I think that Charlo would present some problems for Canelo with his length and his jab. I would like to see that fight. Unfortunately, I don't think the politics of boxing will allow for it to happen, at least not currently. Maybe Alvarez can come from under his Golden Boy slave contract and come over to Showtime, PPC, CBS, or whatever, and then we can see the Charlo fight. I think that fight has to happen. You know, I don't want to look. There's no other fight at middleweight I want to talk about other than Charlo Canelo. Honestly, I mean that's the fight that has to happen. You know, Charlo I think is the legitimate number one contender, with Alvarez, of course, being the champion. So that fight should happen. It needs to happen. You know, have some clarity in the middleweight division. Let's see who's best.
Good point, but I want to say something though. Something that that we haven't brought up yet is that can Canelo actually make middleweight though? Because he seems a lot bigger than he's ever before. That's something that's concerning to me.
That's a good question.
The issue is for me. Then give up the belt. If you can't make the weight, stop playing. Give up the belt.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing I want to ask though, because he's a lot bigger than he has been before. And I'm not sure if he can actually make middleweight comfortably because I don't know, man, because he hasn't fought there in a while and he's been fighting the higher weights. I mean, his last fight was at light heavyweight, but he hasn't fought for nearly over a year now. So, and we won't see him this year at all. I mean, unless until Monday they can, unless he decides to go ahead and drop a lawsuit. But other than that. I don't know, man. I mean, if he can, great. But to me, some part of me tells me that he cannot make that weight anymore. I mean, if that's the case, as you said, Smoke is to drop the belt.
Yeah, the funny thing about it, one minute, Smoke. The funny thing about it, like, I think, like, when you go up to light heavyweight and you come in and they're talking about 168, I think you're right. I don't think you make it. But why are you holding on to the belt? I think it's another ploy for the WBC to hold on to, but you can't deny the thing. The Charlo brothers, like any great fight, they need a great fight. But if we can't get Canelo, we can damn sure try to get Triple G. That's what I mean. I told the Jonathan Banks, and Triple G probably got a defense coming up at some point. But I mean, that's the one. Like Triple G said, not Triple G. Jonathan Banks said we're open to fight the fights against the Charlo brothers. We ain't scared, then we ready to take them. So if you can't get that, the Triple G is what most people recognize. He got robbed by Canelo. We can use that. The Charlo brothers can use that. Now the other brother at 154, I mean J-Rock and all them guys down there, man. I mean 154 division. I remember it was good when Fernando Vargas was there. Even Trinidad was there briefly, but bro, ever said Lara, it's hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? I say so. In the 154, there's a lot of good fighters down there, but they in terms of money, they ain't really popping. But if the Charlo brothers can say, look, we can try and make a pay-per-view thing and try to build, we can build on it. I think the investment down the stretch, we might look back and say, you know what, Showtime invested the right time into the Charlo brothers. And I feel personally, some people hate them, some people like them. I think either way people talk about them, and we're talking about it now, they definitely do numbers on box. They definitely do numbers. If you do a video on it right now, the Charlo brothers are they're getting some waves, whether you like them or dislike them. Go ahead, use this. Someone else. Smoke.
I definitely think they have a good piece of business happening. If Canelo's going to be able to make the weight, I think this is how you do it. If you're going to go to 175. Don't try to go back to 160, make a stop at 168. But yeah, if he's not going to be at 160, then he needs to give up the belt and keep pushing. But I think that Canelo recognizes that probably his biggest fight is Charlo in Dallas. Assuming we get crowds, that's probably the biggest fight on the horizon for him, like money wise. As far as the 154, there's no big names. Like I said, I think Charlo's already universally recognized. Even if he went and got that undisputed fight, nobody really is giving Teixeira like any kind of chance to win that fight. He's universally recognized. He can stay at 154. There's nobody to fight. I think really they need to move up. If Canelo's not coming back down and they can't get the Triple G fight, you can fight Andre just because he's the last guy there, but there's not really a whole lot in that fight.
Where's Jaime Munguia? He's
at 160.
Yeah, he's at 160. Actually, you know what? Jaime Munguia is rated number 3 by the WBC.
This is what I'm saying. When he's a young gun, you know what I'm trying to say? I remember he was at 154 making waves and that. He gone quiet. Now the Charlo brothers are in town now, and everyone's gone quiet. I ain't heard nothing from him, bro. Like he was making real serious waves in boxing. And we ain't heard nothing from Jaime. And Jaime, you know what I'm trying to say? So there's names in the middleweight division who are I don't think he's a big 154, but and like you said, the Andrade fight, You know what I mean? These fights should have been happening already. They should have been happening already. But I like the Derevyanchenko beatdown because they a lot of people saying big things about him, and you beat him. If you're impressed, I'm not impressed. The other dude, I didn't know nothing about the other dude who's the number one contender who had the belt. That's the thing about the other brother fighting that guy. So I didn't know nothing. But I think going forward right now, they've set the standard. They need to if they're saying to the other guys, yeah, look, we're on pay-per-view. If you go fight me, you're gonna make some money. They and in this corona time with no fans, they're gonna have to take it. Like, you're not gonna have to take it. Showtime have got money. I mean, these networks have money, so they can invest their money in the boxing. And let's build the Charlo brothers and try and build boxing. I think you can invest in the Charlo brothers, and you like for a good 5 or 6 years, we can go forward with them. But they're definitely gonna be under the cushion of being critiqued by us on the panel and you viewers watching this going forward. And no one's really wrong about the performances, but one thing we can say is that, boy, the middleweight division or the middleweights division, so let's say 154 and 160 division are owned by Americans, bro. Like that ain't happened for a minute. Yo, you ain't happened for a long time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Someone say something? Dan the man?
Yeah. Excellent points there. Yeah, I mean, to you guys' point, I think it's about time that everybody stop pussyfooting around and start fighting each other, especially in a time of pandemic. I mean, you really don't have much options given the fact that there's no gate. So you got to go where you get the most money out of it. You know what I mean? So at this point, I mean, again, Miguel, we just brought him up just a moment ago. I mean, Miguel is coming at middleweight now. He can't make 154 anymore, which I initially thought because he was too big for that weight class. So he's at 160. He's rated number 3 by the WBC for Charlo's title. So maybe that's another fight that Charlo could go after. Fight Miguel, and believe me, that would be a great fight. And I know Charlo's going to beat Miguel. Miguel is sometimes sloppy. He's sloppy. He's very leaky with his defense. He doesn't move his head that much. And he drops his hand is extremely low. So he's very vulnerable to right hooks. So that would be a fight that they can make. It'd be a money-making fight because Miguel is very popular amongst the Mexican fan base. Very popular with them.
Is he? I thought he was just basically he was living off of the legend of Cotto through Saddam Ali. Like that Saddam Ali fight was really all I've seen. Like, yeah, did he fight like Hogan after that? He fought somebody that was piecing him up.
Yeah, he fought a Dewey.
But
Dio Dewey's brother, Kashi Dewey, fought him, and then he fought Michael Selvin at middleweight earlier this year, I believe.
Oh, Spike.
Yeah,
Spike.
it's just I feel like it was just a mismatch between him and Saddam Ali that he's still living off of, and you could see that he was green in his very next fight and shouldn't really be mentioned amongst the guys who you're supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, Liam Smith. He fought Liam Smith right after that fight. So
that fight.
Yeah, them dudes are waiting for the Charlo brothers to slip up because they all quiet. They were making waves with the end of the division. How come you quiet now? You quiet. The 154 and the 160 division are there. Like Triple G, the net's closing on you, bro. You're gonna have to fight the brothers then, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what deal they got down in the zone, and you over there eating, getting old. We need your head on the plate. Put your head on the plate and then bro. I want a classic. I want a James Toney, Michael Nunn situation where maybe the Charlo down on the scorecards and they come back and rally back, bro. The box needs a historical fight, bro. Like the brothers need a historical fight to put their names in the lights. And there's names out there. Let's get them in the ring. Go ahead, fight. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say this one thing. It used to be that the old lions were like champing at the bit for the new line. Like, it shouldn't be that the fans are pushing the old guy to fight the young guy. I don't know. It just seems something weird about that. It just harkens back to like Lennox Lewis, Michael Grant kind of thing. Like, no, I'm not going to fight Chris Bird or John Ruiz. I'm going to go with the young gun that everybody says is unbeatable.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, fair enough. But I will say this though: somebody in the chat said that Charlo had turned down the Canelo fight. Well, I'll say this: that is true. He did turn that down. But the problem is in that situation is that I think based off the timing and the preparation, Canelo was only going to give him 5 weeks to prepare for that fight. That's the reason why he turned it down. I think he did the same thing to Caleb Plant. I know there's no excuses, but you're giving a high-level fighter only 4.5 weeks to train for a high-profile fight. Yeah, that's kind of like Canelo trying to go after a guy when he's vulnerable.
Yeah, the issue is the difference between an offer and an ultimatum, right?
Right. So basically, Canelo's going to give him the fight, but you only got 4 weeks to prepare, or 5 weeks to prepare. I'm sorry. So you think that's fair, or you think that's not fair, guys?
That's bullshit.
Go ahead, fight.
Yeah, listen, if you want me to give you credit for giving an offer, then an offer should be a negotiation, not an ultimatum.
Yeah,
you can't just say, yeah, I gave you an offer and I gave you an opportunity, but it was one that it was one that you weren't even flexible enough to give what is a reasonable amount of time that everybody else gets in normal circumstances. Like, why should you handicap your opponent? You don't need to, right? So why do
That's
it?
funny. You know, that's funny though,
guys who
because
be making that offer, they already be in training camp. You know, guys making that crappy offer, they already had a plan in place. You know, as far as training and everything, they've been training. You know, gonna give other opponent like 4 or 5 weeks. Notice.
Well, it's funny though,
Yeah,
because they used to accuse Floyd Mayweather of doing that. You know, of doing that. I'm not know if EJ could speak to that. Whatnot is that Floyd used to be accused of giving guys only 5-6 weeks to prepare for a fight, or you know, for example, it's like there's a rumor slurring around that he's gonna fight a certain opponent, and then when it's like closer to that fight date, he announces it 5-6 weeks before the actual fight, before the date. So I'm not saying that's what Canelo's doing. He's using that same particular playbook, but it is kind of suspect that you're giving a high-level fighter like Charlo only 5 weeks to prepare.
Well, isn't that essentially what happened in the Kovalev fight?
Well, almost. The difference is Kovalev actually had the opportunity to forego his mandatory. So they were trying to negotiate that. He didn't like the offer, the money, so he decided that he was going to go and fight Anthony Yard. He thought that was going to be an easy fight. And of course, that wasn't an easy fight. And then after that, he only had, like 8 weeks to prepare for the Canelo fight? So it's, to your question, so it is kind of somewhat similar. It is. It is similar. But at the same time, Kovalev made the choice. He didn't have to fight Yard. He could have just waited and then took the fight at that time. He decided to go fight Yard because he thought it was going to be an easier fight. He wanted to be a little bit active, and then next it wasn't easy. He took a lot of damage in that fight. So
the thing about it, careers, and when you compare one fighter to another, is just they have their own. While there may be some similarities, depending on the topic, there's also the circumstances that provide context, right? So, Canelo. The issue with Canelo is at this point, he is dining out off of Hall of Famers who are shells of themselves, right? It's like the idea that he is facing these young, prime, hungry champs that could give him a run for his money is just not there for him. And it's starting to become a pattern, right? So it's a little bit different with a Floyd who was fighting everybody, and then later on had brittle hands and was fighting above his weight class.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? PMC, Fight Doctor. Is everyone burned out? Is everyone burned out? Is there anyone else?
Nah, I'm not burned out. I'm not burned.
Go ahead, PMC.
I mean, Canelo's the cash cow, man. You know what I'm saying? So he gonna keep doing it, man. I mean, fans are paying to see him do it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the problem is that if you're going to continue to offer guys only 5-week notices, you're not going to get anybody in the ring with you unless somebody who really needs the money.
Look, man.
But that's becoming more and more of a common theme with Canelo Alvarez. I mean,
but he's got he's his own brand, man. He bringing in the numbers for himself, man. Look. If they got a problem with it, man, the only they can do is create their own buzz, man. You know what I'm saying? Create their own, marketplace, a match. What he doing? I mean, that's what Fury and Wilder had to do. Hell, Anthony Joshua was playing the same damn game. You know what I'm saying?
The difference is that Fury and Wilder are actually fighting credible challenges.
But they created their own space, man. They created their on little market. If you want to step up into somebody else's market and start making money, and the dude's like, well, you're gonna have to give me, you're gonna have to rent out my space, and this is how much, this is how much money I'm demanding. You can't. I mean, you can cop attitude if you want to, but if you create your own market, you know what I'm saying, separate from his, and they can match, then dude probably like, oh, okay, well, respect, you know what I'm saying? We can work something else. We can do a 50-50 or something like that. But you gotta match those numbers from somewhere. You know, the only way you're gonna do that is they go to a tournament or, they start bringing in the same amount of money, start bringing in the same numbers. Then it's like, oh well, Canelo, like, what you want to do now? Because this is a big fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm bringing in like 20 million fans. You bring in 20 million fans. You got to create that buzz. So I mean, we just seen that with Wilder and Fury. Nobody expected them to fight. They ended up fighting. First fight was good. Second fight, Fury ended up, being the Ring Magazine champion, all this other stuff, all this hype around it. Everybody making fun of Wilder and shit. You know what I'm saying? All his videos go viral and shit. And then you look at Anthony Joshua. Joshua's now is like, well, shit. They created that buzz. They getting more money than what I was offering. You know what I'm saying? As of right now. So now it's like when they come to the table now, it's like, well, shit, Tyson is like, well, I am the man, and saying you was the man, so where the money at, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't no more, they got to create their own spot where it's like, what ain't no more, you offering me this, you offering me that. Now we pretty much almost on even terms, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, the people can say what they want to say about what Canelo's doing, man. If his fans keep paying for it, then so be it. And then as far as him talent,
But I think that's part of the problem
last point
that he's having right now with the zone. The fans are not paying.
Right, well, but they're not paying the zone. The zone paying Canelo. He getting his money off them now.
Right, and that's the problem. And that's the problem. That's the reason why we. And
that's their problem.
Well, apparently it's a problem. Well, apparently it's a problem for Alvarez too, because it seems to me that if it weren't a problem for Alvarez, we wouldn't be having this court case.
Yeah, they made it they made it a problem by signing them to the stupid ass contract and shit. You know what I'm saying? They got to come up. They got to find a way to come up with an opponent of money. You know what I'm saying? That's not Canelo's problem right there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, speaking of the, I was gonna say PSC real quickly. If you speak of the zone, I guess you guys ain't heard. They offered they were in mediation right now, and a couple of days ago, and they restructured Canelo's contract where he has to agree to a $20 million guarantee instead of 35 that he initially supposedly was signed off on. So $20 million, which is more than the 30% pay cut that Canelo was going to concede to. And plus he would get upside, which is based off the subscription, just like it was on his last contract. So that's all they're offering right now.
Yeah, so but it's gonna keep. But that don't mean he ain't gonna stop doing what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So from the looks of it, I'm not sure if Canelo's going to agree to it, but he has until Monday to decide what he wants to do. But if anything, if they refile the lawsuit, then I think that's I don't know, man. I don't know where the zone's.
If you can if you can stay safe and keep taking candy from a baby, man. I don't see how you can pass that up, man. You talk about $20 million to fight Joe Blow, but yeah,
well, that means you're losing $15 million. You lose $15 million. Well, yeah.
They talk about all this legacy stuff. They can't eat legacy at the end of the day. They can't eat legacy.
The problem is that, let me just say, based off principle, though, you initially agreed to a $35 million guarantee, and now they're coming back and telling you that we can't pay you that guarantee.
Yeah, that's on them. That's their fault. You know what I'm saying? They ain't his fault. That's their fault. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in that case, they need to let him out of his contract, but they're willing to do so. They're not willing to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need to let him out of his contract, and let's get a fight. Go ahead.
And then another thing, last point I wanted to make was that as far as like talent wise and stuff like that, he's looking better. Every time I see him, he's doing like the head movements there. The shoulder rolls got a little bit better
against the bums. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's looking better. You know what I'm saying? You want to see him fight somebody better, bro. But he's looking. His skills are better, but that's the same thing you say with Floyd. You know what I'm saying? You trying to find somebody who can beat Floyd, but you just trying to see how dominant Floyd can be. You really there to pay pay to see
Yo,
Floyd when he was fighting.
Rocky from Stocky and some of them UK bums they be feasting on, bro. And this Ildrim guy is a bum. These are the he gonna look good, bro. He gonna look good. I don't know, PMC. He gonna look fantastic, bro. But let me tell you, son, them dudes are not. He fights them bums, and then the rest of the dudes are doing the heavy lifting. We gonna sign up. But if he can get himself out, Pacquiao looks very happy. It seems like the money he got from the fight with Furman and whatever he's doing good. And now they're talking about McGregor and Manny Pacquiao. I want briefly, obviously, everyone's opinion on that. When everyone was trying to say that's a clown fight, should Manny Pacquiao fight McGregor? And if he does, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I think McGregor, if they made that fight, McGregor gonna talk cash money against Manny Pacquiao, bro. I can see him calling him monkey and all kinds of names, or being disrespectful to Manny Pacquiao and getting people out. I think that will cause like a thing. But I got Pacquiao doing him inside 3 rounds, bro. Pacquiao is gonna make a statement every time Manny Pacquiao fights a former Floyd opponent. He tries to make a statement. And I, just say, but hey, if Pacquiao gets knocked out. If Pacquiao gets knocked out by McGregor, I think Conor McGregor will get back his status. So there's a lot to lose in that fight. What's everyone's take on that fight? Go ahead, Dan the man first.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all about the supremacy over in the MMA versus boxing. Yeah, we all know that. And if McGregor does somehow win that fight, expect all those MMA trolls to come out. And I love the MMA community. Don't give no disrespect. I love the MMA community, and I know I haven't followed it as extensively as I've done with boxing, but I would say though that all these dudes are going to come out. They're going to start trolling boxing channels, harassing us, talking about yeah. You see that McGregor proved to y'all that your sport doesn't mean shit. This, that, and the third, blah blah blah. That's what's going to happen again. And I mean, it should not happen because on paper, Pacquiao should win this fight. And he, like you said, EJ, it's like typically whenever Manny Pacquiao fights a former Floyd Mayweather opponent, he makes a statement with those guys. So, I mean, I expect the fight to go at least by 5 rounds, no more than that. Pacquiao's going to stop him. Probably beat him far worse than Floyd did. That's my take.
PMC?
Yeah, it's the same, man. It's a money grab. So McGregor's down for that money grab. He got the Proper 12 thing going. Now he's gonna fight Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. He never boxed in his life. You know what I'm saying? So that dude came a long way from welfare to to riches, man. His rags to riches story is one of the best. He just hyping himself up, man, to these major fights. And it's sad, man. Because Thurman did, all he could to try to get a fight with Floyd, and McGregor gets the fight. All these guys. But he got Pacquiao. He finally got Pacquiao, but he didn't shut him down when he had a chance.
Yeah.
So, but McGregor, man, he's there. Like I said, you know what? Why not? The fans are gonna pay for it. I don't think it depends on what the pay per view is, but it's gonna be $75, maybe $100 for pay per view if they do it, and people gonna buy it, man. You know what I'm saying? All McGregor's fans are gonna buy it because they just want to see like what's gonna happen, because we don't know what's gonna happen. Pacquiao 40, 41 years old. You know what I'm saying? McGregor's the younger guy. But yeah, man, if it was in the octagon, I'd say he had a chance. But as far as just boxing, I was like, nah, I don't think so. McGregor can't box. Period, man. We saw it on the Floyd fight. He ain't got no jab. He ain't got nothing going for him. It's a beatdown.
They're both southpaws, but we gonna see. Fight Doctor Rick James status. What'd you say? What's your take?
2 words. Who cares? Who cares? I mean, this fight's a circus, man. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, you got a guy with 1 professional fight, a loss by knockout, and another joke of a fight. I mean, come on, man. This fight, I mean, look, if Pacquiao is going to be campaigning at welterweight and calling himself a champion or whatever, he needs to fight Errol Spence. That's the fight that needs to happen, okay? Or the Mayweather rematch. This is a joke. I mean, why is it? I mean, it's sad that the business of boxing has been reduced to this, this level of clownery, okay, where you have a legitimate all-time great fighting, a sideshow. I mean, it's crazy, man. Who cares? Who cares?
He deserves. Pacquiao deserves that fight, man, because the Thurman fight was supposed to be in the past another church. Those are all those young guys that was gunning for Floyd. They should have been and fought each other, but now all of them fought each other, man. Now that like they were supposed to during that year a year and a half, Floyd was out of the game. They were supposed to fight each other. And I think if one of those guys solidified themselves at 147, yeah, I think Floyd probably would have fought one of those dudes just to close the chapter on that whole generation of guys that was coming up. But they didn't do that, man. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that. That Garcia versus Sean Porter, that fight took a year and a half before it was supposed to happen. Sean Porter did something else because he wasn't fighting for the belt. They were supposed to be fighting each other for a title eliminator. And you know what I'm saying? So the go after I think it was Thurman. So they messed that up. And now you got Crawford there. And these guys still ain't fighting. So it's been like 2 years since they've been talking about fighting each other. So why does Pacquiao gotta fight all these damn dudes when this dude been fighting ever since 07? We know about this dude in 06, 07, you know what I'm saying? For the longest. And these guys just coming up on the scene and they ain't even fighting, they playing games, man. You don't have to play them games with them kids. So when he fought Keith Thurman, that was the passion on the choice. That was Thurman's opportunity to fight that legend that he wanted. Those are the guys. It was Pacquiao, Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Pacquiao, Floyd. He got one of them and he lost. So Pacquiao already put him out. He fought the guy that was the unified champ. You know what I'm saying? This guy had 2 belts. He was around for a while. He fought a guy that's younger than him, so he already did that. Why he got to fight Earl Spence? Why he got to fight Crawford? You know what I'm saying? The young guys, the young killers of the division and stuff like that. When he already been through the gauntlet.
Listen, Pacquiao can fight whoever he sees fit. I mean, if he wants to, if Pacquiao wants to fight Conor McGregor. Right.
This time to eat. When he was top ranked.
And that's right. If people are going to pay for the McGregor fight, more power to Pacquiao. If he's going to fight a Conor McGregor, then be prepared to deal with the criticism that comes along with that. And the Conor McGregor fight is a joke with every letter in the word capitalized. So I'm going to call it like I see it. It's a joke fight. Pacquiao, legitimate great fighter, but this fight is a joke. Who cares? Seriously,
it's for money. He a prize fighter. He's supposed to be fighting for money. So I'm not knocking. I ain't paying for it. But if somebody want to pay for it, let him go ahead and do it. I mean, what else he gonna do? You know what I'm saying? And then all that money he's supposed to be making on the top rate. They say he wasn't making. That he had all them back taxes and stuff like that. We don't know where he financially is. You know what I'm saying? So he got to provide for his family. He did it already, man. He had a long ass career. He come from 118 or something like that. He has a long ass career. He's been fighting ever since he was a kid. So I'm not expecting nothing from him. Who else is expecting something from Manny Pacquiao, who's supposed to be a fighter of the decade and all this other stuff? A lot of people argue that he better than Floyd, even though he lost. You know what I'm saying? He already a Hall of Famer. So what else you got to do? We supposed to fight everybody in the next generation? And these guys ain't fighting each other. Come on, man. I'm not knocking him. You know what I'm saying? Let him do what he do, and he can get rid of that belt. He don't need a belt. He don't need a belt. Manny Pacquiao don't need no belt. Floyd Mayweather don't need no belt. When you get reached to a certain level, you don't need to hold on to all these belts no more. You fight who you want, because fans want to see you fight. That's pretty much it.
You're right. You're right. They're changing the status quo. I mean, Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, they still going ahead with that fight, right? They still going ahead with that fight. And I mean, they both Hall of Famers. They done everything they need to do. They want to fight to generate money, to think, are we going to go support them? Yeah, we're going to go support them. You know what I'm saying? The Fight Doctor has a right to his opinion, and so does PMC, whether you agree or disagree. You know what I'm saying? But the way I look at that, all these things are just generating money in boxing generating money in boxing to see, I mean, what's the outcome of it? You know what I mean? What the boxing fans, they were talking about the KSI and Logan Paul fight. That's going to be great for boxing. I ain't nothing for boxing, bro. I mean, that was a joke fight. In fact, Let's talk about Floyd Mayweather fighting Jake Paul. if Fight Doctor's upset about that one, at least Conor McGregor is a combat guy. What about
that? That's an even bigger joke than the Pacquiao McGregor fight.
how so? Go ahead.
I never even heard of this guy before they announced this fight, this quote unquote fight. I mean, come on, man. It's a circus. You're supposed to be pound for pound number one. You call yourself TBE. I don't think so, but that's what you call yourself. Now you want to fight some YouTube guy who didn't even win the YouTube fight. So, I mean, come on, man. It's a joke, man. That's ridiculous. I'm not paying for that shit. That's for damn sure.
Nah, we're going to stream that for real. PMC? PMC. King. Guess he ain't got nothing to say on that one. I guess he busy it out. But if Fight Doctors gave his points, man, everyone's gave their points. And I can honestly say the Charlo brothers, are they the real deal? I will say this emphatically, they still have stuff to prove. But, hey, listen, some great wins. If the fans are happy, they're on their way to being the real deal. I can say that. That's what I can say. They're on their way to being the real deal. If they continue on the path of trying to fight great fighters and giving the fights the fans want, you know what I'm saying? That's all they can do, man. A shout out to everyone in the chat, all you guys over there, Retro Boxing and Documentaries, Lossy, MML, so they got all the guys in the chat. We got Rob Gotti and all them guys there. All right, last words, Fight Doctor, last words.
Yeah, last words. So I'm more convinced about Charlo the elder, less convinced about Charlo the younger. Yeah, what we saw last night, I don't want to call it a fix, but it certainly had some, just some. There's an aura of suspicion about how that fight ended in my mind, and yeah, I would be curious to know what was going on in Rosario's camp leading up to the fight. Was there something wrong? I mean, seriously, because if there was something going on in his camp, then I think a rematch is warranted.
Oh,
based on. Well, okay, so listen, based on the first 7 rounds of that fight, right? Let's just look, never mind the 8th round, okay? Based on the first 7 rounds of that fight, what I saw Rosario coming forward, pressing the action, trying to make the fight. I saw Charlo the younger moving away, jabbing, not really committing on his punches, and the punches that he did commit on, I mean, he was missing. He was throwing a lot of wild left hooks, wild right hands, and he really he had the knockdown, and the knockdown was legitimate, but that was a punch that Rosario walked into. That the knockdown in the first round, I think he just caught Rosario basically. He was cold, maybe a little bit off balance. So I don't really put any weight behind that. But the second knockdown, that was a legitimate knockdown, and he had Rosario hurt. But the first 7 rounds, I saw a competitive fight. I saw Rosario coming forward, pressing the action. Then 8th round, he gets tapped to the body, and all of a sudden, the fight is over. So, yeah, I think I would be curious to know what was going on in his camp leading up to the fight.
Let me ask you a question. When the body shot landed, do you think did he look like he wanted to continue? I mean, you in your mind, he thought he should, but did he look like he wanted to continue? Did he want to fight?
No. So he's convulsing around on the canvas.
Yeah.
And no, it didn't look like he wanted to continue. So
what was that warrant of rematch?
Well, I mean, my question is, what would I didn't see? Look, let's not confuse Charlo the younger with Errol Spence. He doesn't work the body like Spence does, and he certainly wasn't working Rosario's body to the degree that in the 8th round he taps him with a jab to the body, and the guy falls down, and all of a sudden, he looks like he's having an epileptic seizure or something. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't fit in my mind. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
I think they might have surprised you. 1 minute, they might have surprised you how good they are. Whether you said, because I wasn't too impressed with the Charlo brothers coming into the fight, but I watched the fight and I see him slowly dissect him. I think I saw a different fight than you, and I don't think that kid warrants a rematch at all. He wasn't winning on the scorecards at all. I thought it was a complete shutout. I guess I'm watching a different fight for you. You mentioned younger brother and older brother. Ain't they twins? So how's one older than the other?
So I think the younger one is 5 minutes younger than the older one. They're 5 minutes apart, something to that degree.
You being real technical because I was trying to think like when you said one older than the other, I was like, I swear they're twins. Yeah, you make me laugh, man. All right, Fat Doctor, no problem. But on the real, you for people listening, you don't sound like you're hating. No, it don't sound like a bit of hate there. You know, you ain't impressed, obviously, but you sound like you're hating, right?
No, it's no hate. I mean, I'm just being objective. You know, I'm just calling it like I see it. I mean, I want to see both the Charlos succeed. Now, if I'm pressed to answer who do I think will succeed, I think it's probably going to be the Charlo the older. I think he has more talent. I think he's more naturally gifted than Charlo the younger. And but I think maybe you can make an argument that Charlo the younger perhaps has more credible wins. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But I think unfortunately, the politics of boxing are probably going to work against Charlo the older in the middleweight division because the middleweights that he needs to fight, unfortunately, are aligned with other promotional entities. You know, so the Golovkin fight needs to happen. The Andre fight needs to happen. The Canelo fight needs to happen. But question is, can they?
Listen. All Triple G used to do, right? Triple duck, because that's why I met Fight Doctor on the boxing voice. Because shout and the boxing voice and Fight Doctor, all you do is just come in, is just bomb on Triple G, triple duck. And the reason why he's the Fight Doctor bomb on triple duck because he used to fight guys at low weight, 154, bring them up welterweights, whoever. You know, Kell Brook, wise 54. At least with the Charlo brothers, they're fighting mandatories in their division. They're not making guys cut weight. This is why I said they're bringing respect back to the middleweight division and doing things in America and an American in the middleweight divisions, 154, 160, are doing things how boxing's supposed to be. They ain't looking for no catch weights. They bringing guys up from lower divisions. They're beating the number one contenders. How are they doing it? They getting it done. Derevyanchenko was that guy who gave Triple G the hardest fight. The other guy was a number one contender. I don't know too much about him. He beat him with a body shot. And that's the thing that get people's talking. It's the fact that there's the only one that I'm hearing right now thinking that the fight was fixed. I still hard pressed to see that, but that's Fight Doctor's opinion. Fight Doctor, last words.
No, listen, I'm not saying that the fight was fixed. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the way that the fight ended, to me, looks a bit suspicious. Now, knockout could have been 100% legitimate. I'm definitely open to that possibility. However, just putting everything in context. Now, granted, I don't have the full context because, again, I don't know what was going on in Rosario's camp leading up to the fight. However, just having watched the fight, having not seen, this vicious body attack that would have explained, I think, a one jab to the body knockout in the 8th round, it just, to me, looks suspicious. I mean, who goes down from a body shot? And it wasn't even that hard. It was a jab. Okay? A jab to the body. You go down and then you're convulsing like you're in epileptic shock or something. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And you're the guy who's pressing the action all fight long. So yeah, I'm not convinced as far as Charlo the younger is concerned. Not yet.
Okay, well that's Fight Doctor's take, and his take is well worded. There might be other people feel the same way. We will find out, man. It's an episode, and that we're gonna find out as we follow that. But the Charlo brothers are the real deal. You guys have the right to give your opinions in the chat. My man Fight Doctor, shout out to my man Fight Doctor, shout out to my man PMC, shout out to my man Dan the Man. Get this smoke. Retro boxing, retro boxing and documentary. Shout out to him. That's AKA Blood Boxing, and all you guys in the chat, man. Fight Doctor, thanks for putting that into the chat, posing the question. You don't believe they're the real deal, and I thought, I'll do a hang on it, and it's obviously garnered a lot of attention that people feel that whether they're backwards and forwards, but they still have stuff to prove. It's one of the ones there that are they the making to be historical, or are they gonna be just another brothers who were just overhyped? We will find out. Thanks very much, Fight Doctor, coming over. I'm EJ Boxing Live. If you're not subscribed, subscribe already. Hit the like button and press the bell to get notifications when I'm going live. Catch you on the next one. Peace.